So, having met Mitch Brabson, and he said, "Don't go," I was then ushered into onto their main stand, introduced to an amazing man called Peter Gehrig, who is the president of ASICS USA. A few Japanese people there, of course, who own the company, but these people ran America, and it was down in California where all the shoe technology took off, and still is to a certain extent. From there, we had an agreement. They wanted to do it. This is what they were working on and looking at. They couldn't believe that I'd done it using a piezo film. They were looking at all sorts of weird ways of making switches work. This was by far the best, and I'd spent a fortune on its development, as did the company called Penwalt in the USA, who developed the original material. So we'd all got a combined deal, and of course the Japanese needed to see this, and I was asked would I go to Japan and meet Mr Onitsuka, because the company at the time was called Tiger, and it was Onitsuka Tiger. Incredibly, I met Mr Onitsuka, and I was introduced into a room with about 75 of their technicians, all Japanese, one translator, and a long table with a long tablecloth. Thank heavens for the tablecloth, as you'll find out. And I was introduced to him as Mr Onitsuka. And of course he didn't speak English, and I just said Onitsuka Tiger. And when I said Tiger, his face looked up. It was so bright. So there I find myself in the room with Mr Onitsuka and all these technicians. And of course, as we've just demonstrated here, you can't see that. Well, we couldn't see it in the room either. I had to go and turn all the lights off, so I didn't have time to get busy. How do we turn the lights off? I turned the lights off. And then it was darker, but still not good. And so I lifted up the tablecloth, and it was nice and dark under the tablecloth, thank heavens. So I took the piezo film, and I got on my hands and knees. I lifted the tablecloth up, forgetting about all the etiquette. How do you talk to anybody like this? And there was this amazing man, and he got under, he knelt down, he got under the table with me, and I was doing this, and you'll see later on when we do this in a darker room. And of course it all lit up, and then I showed him to flick it and so on, and he did all this and so on and so forth. And not a word passed between us, and we were doing this. So I'm on my hands and knees, Mr Onitsuka's on his knees, and when I look and see what he's doing, I then look around, and the other 75 technicians are all under the table. Now, I wanted to laugh, but this is the last place I could laugh. I wanted to laugh because the position they took, they weren't on their knees. Everybody, they were on their chests, because apparently they had to be lower than Mr Onitsuka, because he's the venerable man. And that would almost happen just because he was older, let alone the fact he owned the company. But this is what happened. And as I saw these guys, it was amazing. So they're on their chests. You try this on your chest and then look up. That's not easy. And they were all trying to see what was happening up the other end of the table. That is a true story. It has to be true because you couldn't make it up. There we go. That's the story of how that was introduced.